In a world where wealth and power rule, Adesuwa has everything she could ever want, but there's one thing that money can't buy: true love. When her millionaire fiancé Tunde sabotages the life of the man she secretly loves, Kunle, Adesuwa must choose between her family's fortune and the man who has always been there for her. Will she find the courage to stand up for love before it's too late? Watch the full story to discover how Adesuwa's journey will change everything. If you're new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe for more incredible stories. For our loyal subscribers, thank you for your support. Let's dive into the full story now. Adesuwa Adegbite, the only daughter of one of Lagos' wealthiest businessmen, Chief Adegbite, had grown tired of the superficial world she lived in. Born into opulence, her days were filled with extravagant parties, pretentious suitors, and hollow friendships. Despite her father's insistence that she marry an equally wealthy man to solidify their family's business empire, Adesuwa longed for genuine love. One fateful evening, while attending yet another high society gala, Adesuwa overheard a group of her so-called friends mocking her. "She'll never find someone who loves her for herself," one sneered. "Why would she? Everyone just wants her money," another chimed in. Their words cut deep, igniting a bold plan in her mind. Adesuwa decided to step out of her golden cage. With her loyal childhood nanny, Aya Bose, as her only confidant, she crafted a new identity. She would become Suwa, an ordinary waitress working at a modest roadside eatery in a bustling Lagos suburb. The idea thrilled her. For once, she would see the world through a different lens and perhaps meet someone who loved her for who she truly was. Her first day as a waitress at Mama Tinu's buka was far from glamorous. The cramped kitchen reeked of palm oil and spices, and her delicate hands, accustomed to holding champagne glasses, now carried heavy trays of steaming jollof rice and egusi soup. The customers were loud, the work exhausting, and Mama Tinu didn't spare her any scolding when she made mistakes. It wasn't long before she caught the attention of a young man named Kunle, a mechanic who often came to the eatery for lunch. Kunle was kind, humble, and had an easy smile that made Sua's heart race. He treated her with respect, unlike the leering men who tried to flirt with her while she worked. But Kunle wasn't particularly impressed by her beauty. He admired her hard work and kindness to the children who came to beg for leftovers. As days turned into weeks, Adesuwa began to enjoy her new life. But her father, noticing her absence from social events, began to worry. He instructed his trusted aide, Mr. Alau, to investigate her whereabouts. Kunle continued visiting Mama Tinu's buka, his curiosity about Suwa growing with each encounter. Despite her clumsiness and occasional outbursts when overwhelmed by customers, there was something genuine about her that he couldn't ignore. He started small conversations, sharing bits about his life as a mechanic and his dreams of owning a car repair shop someday. Suwa found herself drawn to Kunle's honesty and ambition. Unlike the men she was accustomed to, he didn't brag about his achievements or flaunt material possessions. Instead, he spoke passionately about his struggles and aspirations. She admired his determination and began looking forward to his visits. One evening, as they sat outside the buka after it had closed, Kunle opened up about his past. He shared stories of his late mother, who had taught him the value of hard work and kindness. Moved by his vulnerability, Suwa shared a fabricated version of her life as an orphan who worked to survive. Tears welled in Kunle's eyes, and he promised to always look out for her. But Sua's secret life began to unravel when a mysterious man entered the scene. Mr. Alau, Chief Adegbite's aide, had tracked her down to the buka. Disguised as a customer, he watched Suwa from a corner table, his eyes narrowing as he recognized the billionaire's daughter behind the waitress's apron. He decided to keep her location secret for now, hoping to understand her motives before reporting back to Chief Adegbite. Meanwhile, Suwa and Kunle's bond deepened. One day, Kunle invited her to his garage, proudly showing her the car he had been restoring for months. "This car is like my dream," he explained. "It's broken now, but with enough care and effort, it'll shine again." His words struck a chord in Suwa, who realized how much she had hidden from him. But just as she was beginning to open her heart, a wealthy suitor arranged by her father, Tunde, appeared in the picture. Tunde was relentless in his pursuit, using every means to win her back, including threatening Kunle. The stage was set for a storm of emotions and secrets that would challenge Adesuwa's quest for true love. Could she balance her double life, or would her secret be exposed, ruining everything she had built with Kunle? Adesuwa's double life began to take its toll. Every morning, she would rise at dawn to work long hours at Mama Tinu's buka, pretending to be the humble Suwa. By evening, she would retreat to her small rented room, exhausted yet fulfilled by the simplicity of her new life. However, the growing bond with Kunle created a pang of guilt. Each passing day made it harder to imagine how he would react if he discovered the truth. Kunle, oblivious to her secret, became a fixture in Suwa's life. He often brought her small gifts, nothing extravagant, but thoughtful items like handkerchiefs, a bottle of water on hot days, or snacks he thought she might enjoy. These gestures warmed her heart, yet they also served as painful reminders of the charade she was living. One afternoon, as Suwa and Kunle laughed over a shared plate of akara and pepper sauce during Kunle's lunch break, Tunde made his grand entrance. The wealthy suitor, dressed in a tailored suit and driving a gleaming black SUV, pulled up to the buka. His imposing demeanor silenced the eatery's usual chatter. Mama Tinu, sensing trouble, discreetly stepped away to the back kitchen, leaving Suwa alone to face him. "Adesuwa," Tunde called, his voice dripping with disdain. "Or should I call you Suwa now? What's this nonsense about slumming it in a buka? Do you realize how humiliating this is for your father and our families?" Suwa froze, her blood running cold. She hadn't anticipated Tunde discovering her whereabouts, let alone confronting her in such a public setting. Kunle, unaware of Tunde's connection to her, stood protectively beside her. "Who is this guy, Suwa?" Kunle asked, his tone laced with suspicion. "I'm her fiancé," Tunde interjected smugly, glaring at Kunle. "And you are?" Kunle's jaw tightened. "I'm her friend. And if you're her fiancé, why are you speaking to her like this?" Tunde ignored Kunle's question, turning his attention back to Suwa. "Enough of this childish rebellion, Adesuwa. Come back home where you belong." Suwa's voice trembled as she finally spoke. "I don't belong with you, Tunde. I never agreed to any engagement. This is my life, and I'll decide how to live it." The customers in the buka murmured among themselves, the drama unfolding like a scene from a Nollywood movie. Suwa felt their eyes boring into her, but her focus was on Kunle. His expression was a mixture of confusion and hurt. As Tunde stormed off, vowing to handle the situation, Kunle turned to Suwa. "Adesuwa, what's going on? Who are you really?" Panic surged through her. She couldn't lose Kunle, not now, not like this. "Kunle, please. Can explain. Just give me time," she pleaded. Kunle stepped back, his brows furrowed in disbelief. "I trusted you, Suwa, or whatever your name is. But now I don't even know who you are." He walked away, leaving Suwa standing alone, tears streaming down her face. Kunle's departure left a void in Suwa's heart, but there was no time to dwell on it. The very next day, Mama Tinu confronted her. "Suwa, or should I call you Adesuwa now?" she said, her tone a mixture of disappointment and curiosity. "Who are you really, and why are you hiding here?" Suwa hesitated but decided to confide in Mama Tinu. She revealed her true identity and explained her desire to escape the suffocating world of wealth and superficiality. Mama Tinu, though initially shocked, softened as she listened. "You want to find true love, she said with a sigh. "It's a noble goal, but lies will only complicate things." Meanwhile, back at the Adegbite mansion, Chief Adegbite was livid. Mr. Alau had finally reported Suwa's whereabouts, and the chief wasted no time summoning her. Adesuwa returned home reluctantly, knowing she couldn't avoid the confrontation any longer. Her father's voice boomed as she entered his study. "Adesuwa, what nonsense is this? Disguising yourself as a commoner, working in a buka? Do you know how much damage this could do to our reputation?" It's my life, father. Adesuwa shot back, her voice breaking. I'm tired of living for your business deals and social status. I want to find someone who loves me for who I am, not what I have. Chief Adegbite was stunned into silence for a moment. Then his expression softened. And have you found that person? Adesuwa's heart sank. Kunle's hurt expression flashed in her mind. I don't know, she admitted. The confrontation with her father reignited her determination. She resolved to win Kunle's trust back, even if it meant exposing her true identity and risking everything. But as she plotted her next move, Tunde was already orchestrating a plan to eliminate Kunle from the picture for good. The stakes were higher than ever, and the path to true love seemed more treacherous than Adesuwa had imagined. Tunde's pride was bruised, and his anger simmered beneath his polished exterior. Adesuwa's defiance was bad enough, but to see her with a lowly mechanic like Kunle had ignited his rage. In his world, power and money resolved every issue, and he was determined to use both to eliminate his competition. That evening, Tunde made a call to a shady associate known for solving problems. He ordered the man to intimidate Kunle and ensure he stayed away from Adesuwa. Make it clear he doesn't belong in her world, Tunde growled. Meanwhile, Kunle was back in his garage, distracted and heartbroken. Adesuwa, or Sua as he thought of her, had lied to him, and yet, he couldn't shake the memories of their time together. She had seemed so genuine, so different from the other people he knew. But how could he trust someone who hadn't even told him her real name? As Kunle worked late into the night, a group of thugs stormed his garage. They smashed tools, overturned workbenches, and damaged the car he'd been restoring for months. One of them stepped forward, towering over Kunle. Stay away from Adesuwa, Adegbite, the thug warned, his voice low and menacing. This is your only warning. Kunle clenched his fists, anger boiling inside him. Who sent you? He demanded, but the thugs merely laughed and walked away, leaving behind a trail of destruction. The incident shook Kunle, but it also fueled his determination. He realized that whoever had sent the thugs feared him, and that gave him a strange sense of power. He decided to confront Sua, Adesuwa, and get the truth once and for all. Adesuwa was at her rented room, staring at the ceiling and replaying her last conversation with Kunle in her mind. She felt trapped, torn between her father's demands and her own desires. Just as she resolved to reach out to Kunle, a knock on her door startled her. It was Kunle. His face was tense, his clothes slightly torn and his knuckles bruised. We need to talk, he said, stepping inside before she could respond. Adesuwa's heart sank as she noticed the state he was in. Kunle, what happened? Are you okay? She asked, genuine concern etched on her face. Don't act like you don't know, he snapped. Your rich fiancé, or maybe your father, sent men to destroy my garage and threaten me. Is this how you handle problems, Adesuwa? Adesuwa gasped, her eyes widening. I had nothing to do with that. I swear. Kunle's gaze softened slightly, but his anger hadn't fully subsided. Then tell me the truth. Why did you lie to me? Why pretend to be someone else? Adesuwa took a deep breath, her hands trembling. Because I wanted to find someone who loved me for who I am, not for my family's money. I've been surrounded by fake people my entire life, Kunle. I just wanted something real. Her voice cracked and tears rolled down her cheeks. Kunle's expression shifted from anger to empathy. He saw the sincerity in her eyes and realized how much courage it had taken for her to admit the truth. I don't care about your money, Adesuwa, Kunle said softly. I care about the person I got to know. Sua, the hard-working waitress who helped feed hungry kids and laughed at my silly jokes. Adesuwa felt a glimmer of hope. Can we start over? No more lies, no more secrets, she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Kunle hesitated, but eventually nodded. I don't know where this will lead, but I'm willing to try. Their reconciliation was a fragile truce, but it gave Adesuwa a newfound resolve. She decided it was time to confront Tunde and put an end to his interference. However, Tunde had other plans. Furious that Kunle hadn't been scared off, he began plotting an even more dangerous scheme, one that could jeopardize everything Adesuwa held dear. The stakes had never been higher, and as Adesuwa and Kunle worked to rebuild their trust, the storm brewing in the shadows threatened to destroy their newfound hope. Tunde's frustration reached a boiling point after learning that Kunle was still in Adesuwa's life. His initial attempts to scare Kunle had failed, and his ego couldn't tolerate the thought of losing to someone he considered beneath him. He decided it was time to escalate his plans, no matter the cost. Calling in another favor from his shady associates, Tunde devised a new plan, one that would ensure Kunle disappeared from Adesuwa's life for good. This time he didn't want intimidation. He wanted destruction. He instructed the men to sabotage Kunle's garage further and make sure his business crumbled under the weight of financial ruin. Meanwhile, Adesuwa had returned to Mama Tinu's buka, finding solace in the simplicity of her work. Kunle visited her one afternoon, and although their conversations were still cautious, there was a growing warmth between them. Adesuwa began to feel hopeful again, believing they could rebuild their bond. However, her peace was shattered that evening when she received a frantic call from Kunle. His garage had been set on fire, and much of his equipment was destroyed. Adesuwa rushed to the scene, her heart pounding. When she arrived, she found Kunle standing amidst the charred remains, his face a mask of despair. "This is Tunde's doing, isn't it?" Kunle asked bitterly, turning to her. "I've lost everything, Adesuwa. My dream, my livelihood, it's all gone." Adesuwa's guilt and anger surged. She couldn't deny the likelihood that Tunde was responsible, but she also felt powerless to stop him. "I'll make this right, Kunle. I promise," she said, gripping his hands tightly. But Kunle shook his head. "Promises won't bring back what I've lost. I need action, not words." Determined to confront Tunde, Adesuwa stormed into his office the next day. "How could you?" she demanded, slamming the door behind her. "Do you think ruining Kunle's life will win me over? If anything, it's driving me further away." Tunde smirked, leaning back in his chair. "You don't understand how the world works, Adesuwa. People like Kunle don't belong in our circles. I'm protecting you from making a mistake you'll regret." "I don't need your protection, Tunde. I need you to leave Kunle alone," Adesuwa shot back. Tunde's expression darkened. "You think you can defy me and your father? Let me remind you, Adesuwa, that without your family's wealth, you're nothing. And Kunle, he's even less than that." Adesuwa's resolve hardened. "Watch me prove you wrong, Tunde. I'd rather lose everything than spend another second with someone as cruel and arrogant as you." She left his office, her heart racing with both fear and determination. Tunde's influence might be vast, but Adesuwa knew she had one weapon he didn't: her integrity. As she returned to Kunle, she found him sitting outside the ruins of his garage, staring at the remains of his dreams. "Kunle," she said softly, sitting beside him, "I'll help you rebuild. I don't care how long it takes or what it costs." Kunle looked at her, his eyes filled with a mixture of hope and doubt. "Why do you care so much, Adesuwa? After everything that's happened, why are you still here?" "Because I believe in you, Kunle," she replied. "And I believe in us. We can get through this together." Their bond, though fragile, began to grow stronger. But they both knew Tunde wouldn't back down easily, and the road ahead would be fraught with challenges neither of them could fully anticipate. Word of the fire at Kunle's garage spread throughout the community, and while many shrugged it off as an unfortunate accident, a few suspected foul play. One of these was Mr. Adewale, a retired mechanic who had mentored Kunle in his early days. Seeing Kunle's despair, Adewale visited him to offer support. "I know Tunde's type," Adewale said, his voice calm but firm. "Men like him think they can control the world with their money, but they always underestimate the power of a determined man. You have that power, Kunle." Kunle nodded, grateful for the older man's encouragement. Adewale offered his workshop for Kunle to use temporarily, along with some tools to begin repairing what was left of his business. It wasn't much, but it was a lifeline that Kunle desperately needed. Meanwhile, Adesuwa was busy plotting her next move. She knew Tunde wouldn't stop until he felt he had won, so she decided to strike where it hurt him the most: his reputation. She reached out to one of her closest friends, Beezy, who worked as a journalist for a local newspaper. Beezy was shocked to hear about the lengths Tunde had gone to sabotage Kunle. "Are you sure you want to do this, Adesuwa?" Beezy asked, concern lacing her tone. "Exposing him could bring a lot of trouble your way." Adesuwa's determination didn't waver. "He's been hiding behind his wealth for too long. It's time people saw the real Tunde." Together, they gathered evidence of Tunde's actions, including testimonies from some of his former business rivals who had suffered under his schemes. Beezy began drafting an exposé that would shine a light on Tunde's corrupt dealings. As Adesuwa and Kunle worked to rebuild their lives and fight back, Tunde sensed that his control was slipping. He tried to intimidate Beezy into dropping the story, but she stood firm, refusing to be silenced. Adesuwa, emboldened by her growing support network, visited her father to confront him about his role in her engagement to Tunde. "You pushed me into this, Baba, but I won't let you dictate my life anymore," she said, her voice steady. Chief Adegbite was taken aback by his daughter's defiance. For the first time, he saw the strength she had inherited from her late mother. "Adesuwa," he said, his tone softening, "if you're sure about this path, then you have my blessing. But be careful. Men like Tunde don't take defeat lightly." Adesuwa's resolve grew even stronger. With her father's reluctant support, Beezy's investigation, and Kunle's determination, she felt more prepared than ever to face whatever came next. But Tunde, sensing the walls closing in, prepared to launch his most desperate attack yet, one that could shatter everything Adesuwa and Kunle had fought to rebuild. The exposé hit the newsstands, and the fallout was immediate. Tunde's carefully curated image of a charming, successful businessman crumbled as the truth of his corruption came to light. His allies began to distance themselves, and his family's reputation suffered irreparable damage. However, Tunde wasn't one to go down without a fight. In a final act of desperation, he orchestrated an ambush on Kunle and Adesuwa. Late one evening, as they walked back from Mama Tinu's buka, a group of masked men surrounded them. "Let her go," Kunle shouted, shielding Adesuwa as the men closed in. Adesuwa clung to him, her heart pounding. But just as the thugs moved to attack, a crowd of neighbors emerged from the shadows. They had been tipped off by Adewale, who had noticed suspicious activity around the area. Armed with makeshift weapons, the community drove the attackers away. Adesuwa and Kunle were overwhelmed with gratitude as their neighbors embraced them. The experience solidified their bond, and Kunle realized he couldn't let fear hold him back any longer. In the days that followed, Adesuwa formally ended her engagement with Tunde, who now faced legal action for his crimes. Chief Adegbite publicly denounced Tunde, offering his support to Kunle and Adesuwa's relationship. Kunle began rebuilding his garage with the help of the community, while Adesuwa started her own business, using her experience at Mama Tinu's buka as inspiration. Together they proved that love, integrity, and resilience could triumph over wealth and corruption. Their story became a beacon of hope for others, showing that true love isn't about status or power. It's about standing by each other through thick and thin, no matter the odds. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end. But before you go, let's digest these moral lessons together. Here are the moral lessons true love triumphs. Love built on sincerity and mutual respect can withstand trials, no matter the obstacles. Integrity over wealth. Character and integrity are far more valuable than riches or status. Courage in adversity. Facing challenges with courage and resilience leads to personal growth and triumph. Community strength. The power of unity and support from loved ones can help overcome even the darkest moments. Standing up for yourself. Never let others dictate your happiness or control your life decisions. We hope you enjoyed this heartfelt and inspiring story. If it resonated with you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends and loved ones. We'd also love to hear your thoughts. What lesson from the story stood out to you the most? Drop your comments below and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay tuned for our next upcoming video. See you in the next video.